So, folks, we got to talk about Vanity Fair because Vanity Fair did an incredible interview with Susie Wiles. And apparently, this interview was done with Susie Wiles, and I am realizing now some of you might not know who she is. She's Donald Trump's chief of staff. Like, she's the person who was brought into his orbit in order to try and control him and make him more presentable. And well, Susie Wiles sat down with this for this interview and didn't realize it was on the record. Yes, she is said to be the only competent manager in the administration, which holds up until you realize that she gave this entire interview thinking it was off the record, and it was on the record. And now she might be the next one to be kicked out of Trump world. We'll see here. Susie Wiles, J.D. Vance, and the Junkyard Dogs, the White House Chief of Staff on Trump's second term, part 1 of 2. Because again, this was so good and so juicy, Vanity Fair had to divide it into multiple parts. Throughout the first year of Donald Trump's second administration, Vanity Fair writer Chris Whipple has interviewed Wiles amid each moment of crisis. This insider's account joins a portfolio of portraits for an unflinching up-close look at power and peril. All right? It's wild. And just fun little profiles. Goddamn, Vanity Fair really outdid themselves. Let's see here. So many decisions of great consequence are being made on the whim of the president. As far as I can tell, the only force that can direct or channel that whim is Susie, a former Republican chief told me. In most White Houses, the chief of staff is first among a bunch of equals. She may be first with no equals. I don't think there's anybody in the world right now that could do the job she is doing, Rubio told me. He called her bond with Trump and earned trust. Vance describes Wiles' approach to the chief's job. This is the idea. There is this idea that people have that I think is very common in the first administration, that their objective was to control the president or influence the president or even manipulate the president because they had to in order to serve the national interest. Susie just takes the diametrically opposite viewpoint, which is that she's a facilitator, that the American people have elected Donald Trump, and her job is to actually facilitate his vision and to make his vision come to life. Now, so far, it's fine. It's oh, okay, this is an all right profile. How does this go? Let's find out exactly. Wiles' relationship with Trump almost ended at his Miami golf club one night in the fall of 2016. Unhappy with a poll showing him doing worse than expected in Florida, Trump berated her in front of a gaggle of cronies. It was a horrific hour plus at midnight, Wiles told me, and I don't think I've seen him that angry since. He was ranting and raving. I didn't know whether to argue back or whether to be stoic. What I really wanted to do was cry. Wiles steeled herself. I finally said, Mr. Trump, if you want somebody to set their hair on fire and be crazy, I'm not your girl. But if you want to win this state, I am. It's your choice. Wiles walked out. Trump turned on a dime. Lo and behold, he called me every day. Wiles never looked back. Trump carried Florida the first big prize in his stunning 2016 upset over Hillary Clinton. Now, they won. Did she ever ask the president, wait a minute, do you really want to pardon all 1,500 January 6th convicts, or should we be more selective? I did exactly that, Wiles replied. I said, I'm on board with the people that were happenstancers or didn't do anything violent. We certainly know what everyone did because the FBI has done such an incredible job. Trump has said the FBI investigators were corrupt and part of the deep state. But Trump argued that even the violent offenders had been unfairly treated. Wiles explained, in every case, of the ones he was looking at, in every case, they had already served more time than the sentencing guidelines would have suggested. So given that, I sort of got on board. Cool. Good job, Susie Wiles. From day one, Wiles had to grapple with another power center, Elon Musk. He's a complete solo actor, said Wiles of Trump's billionaire pal. Wiles described Musk as something akin to a jacked up Nosferatu. The challenge with Elon is keeping up with him, she told me. He's an avowed ketamine user. He sleeps in a sleeping bag in the executive office building in the daytime. He's an odd duck, as I think geniuses are. It's not helpful, but he is his own person. God, Imagine, like, oh yeah, no, he's a total addict, and he sleeps through the day in a sleeping bag in the office, and then but he's a genius though, without mentioning any of the genius ideas he came up with. Like, yeah, no, remember, God, remember when Elon Musk set up like a gaming center in one of the government buildings? He just had a gigantic projector to play video games. God. Yeah, no, of course Elon Musk isn't a genius. His darling brainchild is the Cybertruck. You know, the truck that will burn you alive if it bumps into a wall and has an electrical failure. You know, the truck you can't get out of if the electricity turns off. The truck that will literally chop your hand off if you get it like caught in the back end of the trunk. You know, that Elon Musk, the Elon Musk that was like, it's a look at the bulletproof windows, and then smashed the window of the Cybertruck. The Oh yeah, no, Elon Musk, the guy who cheated at multiple video games in order to claim he was the best in the world. Yeah, that guy's a genius. Okay, yeah, sure. It's avowed ketamine user Elon Musk. Musk triggered the first true crisis of the Trump presidency. Trump's chief was shocked when the SpaceX founder eviscerated USAID, the United States Agency for International Development. I was initially aghast, Wiles told me, but I think anybody that pays attention to government and has ever paid attention to USA believed, as I did, that they do very good work. By the way, the gutting of USAID is going to lead to the deaths of about 14 million people, so, you know, it's probably worth being aghast about. Perhaps he shouldn't have been allowed to do that. The president doesn't know and never will. He doesn't know the details of these smallish agencies. When Elon said we're doing this, he was already into it, and that's probably because he knew it would be horrifying to others, but he decided it was a better approach to shut it down, fire everybody, shut them out, and then go rebuild. Not the way I would do it. And I'm sorry, but the president doesn't know about the functioning of USAID. Perhaps someone should not be the president of the United States if they're not aware about the agency upon whom 14 million people depend on for their ability to live. Perhaps the president should be made aware of that agency. You know, I don't know. I'm just throwing out a few ideas here. I'm just a humble country streamer. Oh God. All right. The shuttering of USAID crippled the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, PEPFAR. The antiretroviral program launched with $15 billion by George W. Bush in 2003, was credited with preventing millions of deaths. It depended on USA grants. In an interview with the Financial Times, Bill Gates remarked, "The picture of the world's richest man killing the world's poorest children is not a pretty one," which is, again, exactly what Elon Musk has done. Privately, another drama was playing out. Bush, i.e. George W. Bush himself, had gotten wind of the gutting of PEPFAR. He called Rubio to express alarm, according to former aide close to Bush. "He's been appalled by Trump from the beginning, and he's determined not to weigh in," the aide said, but Musk's attack on one of his legacy achievements was too much. "Bush," said that person, "cares deeply about the PEPFAR program. That and wounded warriors are the two things he will weigh in on, not publicly, but with intention." Like, but it didn't move them, really, did it? Oops. When I repeated Rubio's comment to a former GOP White House chief of staff, he remarked, "I find that immoral, what they have done to USAID." People talk about the deep state being at the State Department, Wiles said. It's not. It's the military-industrial complex. Hegseth, in her view, is just the guy to take on the powers that be. She referred to the Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a world-class disruptor, as "my Bobby," and "quirky Bobby." In Wiles' view, RFK Jr.'s shock treatment of HHS is warranted. He pushes the envelope. Some would say too far. But I would say in order to get back to the middle, you have to push it too far. You know, just let him fuck up vaccines for the entire country. Cool. Yeah. "I will concede that we've got to look harder at our process for deportations," Wiles told me at the time. Because, again, she was trying to feign that she was concerned about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. If somebody is a known gang member who has a criminal past and you're sure and you can demonstrate it, it's probably fine to send them to El Salvador or whatever, Wiles told me. But if there is a question, I think our process has to lean towards a double check. But again, our process isn't doing that. Our process isn't actually double checking a goddamn thing. It could be an overzealous Border Patrol agent. I don't know, she said of the case. Again, the deportation of a U.S. citizen, a 4-year-old being treated for stage 4 cancer. I can't understand how you make that mistake, but somebody did. These aren't mistakes. It's the system working as intended. You're the chief of staff for the President of the United States. The president declared April 2nd Liberation Day, bragging about billions of dollars that would flow into U.S. coffers from tariffs, refusing to acknowledge that the levies were a tax on consumers. Quote, so much thinking out loud is what I would call it, said Wiles of Trump's chaotic tariff rollout. There's a huge disagreement over whether tariffs were a good idea. Trump's advisors were sharply divided, some believing tariffs were a panacea and others predicting disaster. Wiles told them to get with Trump's program. I said, this is where we're going to end up, so figure out how you can work into what he's already thinking. Well, they couldn't get there. Just all of these horrible decisions. Part 2 of the Vanity Fair piece. Like, she continues, by the way, to just full-on dish on every single one of these members of the Trump administration. Like, she's out there being like, Donald Trump is basically... She calls Donald Trump essentially a functional alcoholic minus the alcohol. Like, she thinks of him as unreliable and, like, just completely uncontrollable. It's wild. Yeah, a dry drunk. Did you see how JD reacted when he found out? No, I didn't. Is there a clip? Can I see a clip of him reacting? God. It's so funny. Let me look it up. Oh, fuck. Yes, let's do it.
And you know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you want in a staffer. Because as much as I love Susie, the American people didn't elect any staffer. They elected the President of the United States. And what you want... And what you want in a staffer is a person who understands they are there to effectuate the will of the American people, and they're there to follow the orders of the duly elected Commander-in-Chief of the United States. And Susie Wiles, we have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the President of the United States, and that makes her the best White House Chief of Staff that I think the President could ask for.
No, guys, she's great.
And the last thing I'll say is, if any of us have learned a lesson from that Vanity Fair article, I hope that the lesson is we should be giving fewer interviews to mainstream media outlets.
Why didn't it go great? Why would you give fewer interviews there, JD? Didn't it all go fine? Oh God. Can I just say, also, one of the funniest things from this Vanity Fair shoot is that this is a picture of Caroline Leavitt's face. And she's 28 years old. Girl, skincare. Do skincare. Moisturize. What are you doing? What are you doing? How'd you let it get this bad? Yeah, like Susie Wiles went and called Donald Trump. She said Donald Trump had an alcoholic's personality. She called JD Vance a conspiracy theorist for a decade. She got so mad about this article, she called it all false. Disingenuously false. And like... I don't know. The guy who took the photos in this, by the way, says he maintains the responsibility to portray what he encounters. So when Stephen Miller apparently approached him after the photo shoot, he said, when we were finished, Miller came up to me and he said, you know, you have a lot of power in the discretion you use to be kind to someone in your photographs. Anderson looked at him. I looked at him and I said, you know, well, you do too. Oh, God. Did I see that they responded to that? No, I haven't seen Vanity Fair's response. The photographer did them dirty. You know, I don't think the photographer did them dirty. I think that photographer showed just how ugly each and every one of them are. You know? I think he accurately captured them. They're lonely, they're isolated, they're pathetic, and ugly. Like, I think that photographer brought out their inner ugliness. And you know what? Incredibly well done. She said those weren't her words, and Vanity Fair gave the Times the tapes to verify, which they did on Twitter. Oh god, that's so fucking funny. No, they're all lies. Here are the audio recordings of all of our conversations. Well, I guess they're not all lies. Look, I think it's funny. I think it's funny. Like, yes, we should take the piss out of these evil fuckers. And, yeah. Do you believe there's a correlation / causation with evil and ugly? No, but I think that there is a way to frame people in photographs in ways that are flattering or unflattering, obviously. And so I think that you can take the most beautiful physical specimen of a human being and take a photograph that renders them ugly as shit. And I think that a photographer doing so is making a commentary on the person. So, anyway, I think this is all great. Well done, Vanity Fair. And folks, please, for the love of God, go read the full piece. Go read the full piece. It is an excellent, excellent piece of work. I didn't want to read all of it for obvious reasons, but excellent reporting. Go reward it with your eyeballs. All right? And with that, folks, let me know what you think. Is this funny? Is it interesting? I don't know. Do you think Susie Wiles is going to keep her job? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And like and subscribe. Do the things. Join your local Dems, join your local DSA. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat deck is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and Swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.